Good morning everyone. So once again, welcome to our YouTube channel. And here we go again to our topic, corrected sounding, the four situation that you will encounter. So welcome to our situation number 3. So for today's example is number 1 fuel oil tank port side. And here's our trim table. So our trim correction table is our example of our ULID sounding is 2.68 meter, and then the trim is 1.5. So we are looking for the trim value of 1.5 in the sounding of 2.68. So as I've said on our previous videos that you always take note with the unit. So always check the unit. So the unit here is millimeter. So always take note that all the value here is millimeter. And then let's go to our solution. So the formula for computing the corrected sounding is present sounding plus trim value. So you can get the corrected sounding if you have the trim value. So since we don't have the trim value, we need to compute the trim value first. So for computation of the trim value, so you need to know the difference. So the difference of 3.0 to 2.5. So the difference of that is 0.5, and the difference also of the 2.68 to 2.50. So this value is what we are looking for. Then in my technique on computing the corrected sounding, I always use the normal and sometimes I use the experience base. But first, we would like to explain first the normal situation or the normal computation that I always use. Before I use this normal operation, I always convert it to millimeter. But it's not necessary to convert to millimeter. But in my own technique, so that it's good to see that all unit here is millimeter, I convert it to millimeter. But not necessary. Always take note that it's not necessary to convert to millimeter. So here in my example, I convert to millimeter, so I use the 500 and 180. So let's say negative 42 minus negative 41 minus equals negative 1. Then you divide to 500 millimeter. So you have the answer of negative 0.002. Then you need to multiply to 180. Then you have the product of negative 0.36. Then you need to plus to negative 41. So you have the answer of negative 41.36. But if you use the 0.5 and 0.18, the answer is same. Once again, I only use the 500 and 180 so that it is nice to see that all unit here is millimeter. But not necessary to do as the same what I did. You can also directly use this 0.5 and 0.18. The answer is same. Okay, since you have the answer now, the negative 41.36, you need to divide it to 10 so that it will become centimeter. So you have now the negative 4.136 centimeter. Then you need to add to 268 centimeter. So take note that 268 is the 2.68 meter. So now you can add this one into 4.136 negative. So the answer this one is 263.864 centimeter. Okay, now let's go to the experience-based formula or the solution. So as you notice, both are same. We use the minus, divide, times, then plus. So same formula that we use here. But no sign. But as you notice, we did not use the negative sign. Okay, now, since all are positive, so the answer is positive also. So what we do next so that we can have the same answer of 263.864. So take note that if you use the experience base, you should forget to use the formula. Okay, so as the normal formula is present sounding plus trim value, you need to minus. And here is why. Because as you can see here, the sign here is negative. So after you compute the total answer here or the value here, you check what sign is in the table. So for example, here on the Astern table is negative sign. So you need to minus to 268. But if you see a positive sign, so you need to use plus. So you need to add to 268. So take note on that. When using this one, always check the sign. So whatever the sign is, that's when you use in this equation. So if the sign is positive, you need to plus. If the sign is negative, you need to minus. And the answer is same. You can try it. But in my suggestion, you always use this one so that you can stick with the formula of present sounding plus trim value. You stick stick to this one, and I'm sure you will not get mistake. Okay, so now you have the answer of 263.864. Then we are going to correct the value on 263.864 because in our capacity table we don't have the value of 263.864. So the 263 is our corrected sounding. So this is the corrected sounding. So we're looking for that in the capacity table. So since we don't have value on that, you need to interpolate again. So that we can get the value on 263.864. So to get the value, so same what we did here, you need to take the difference of the two. So 264 minus 263, the difference is 1 centimeter. Then the 263.864 minus 263, so we have the difference of 0.864 centimeter. So same what we did here. So minus, divide, times, plus. So always take note with that formula. So minus, divide, times, plus 519.54. So this one. Then minus to 520.1. So always take note when using this formula, you always start with a below 1. You always start here. Then next is here. So 519.54 minus 520.1. So you have the answer of negative 0.56. Then you divide to 1. So the 1 is from here. And then you need to times to 0.864. So here's the answer. So it came from here. Then here's the answer, 0.4838. Then you need to add to 520.10. So you have the answer of 519.6162. So always take note with a negative sign. So if you miss the first video that I upload, which about the integers, so I already discussed in our last video. So you can check so that you will familiarize how to compute the negative and positive sign. So now in the ullage and the capacity, we have now the value of 263.864. So the value of that is 519.61. So as you can see here, I also make a table so that we can imagine and visualize that our answer is correct. So in 263.8, we have the value of 519.65. So here, the value in 263.864, the value is 51969. So it's almost same. And then as you notice, in each graduation or in each of this table, we have the difference of 0.056. Okay, so I hope you have learned something from this video. So thank you very much for watching. For any question or suggestion or comment, please comment it down below or message me on my Facebook page. So see you on the situation number 4, which is the last part of this topic. So thank you very much for watching. Bye!